Africa is a continent bursting with natural wealth. From diamonds shimmering in the earth to vast oil reserves, it seems like a land of boundless riches. Gold, copper, cobalt, you name it, Africa probably has it in abundance. And yet, paradoxically, millions of people across this resource-rich continent live in poverty. How can this be? How can a continent so blessed with natural wealth be home to so much hardship? The answer is complex, a tangled web of historical injustices, political instability, and economic exploitation. It's a story of missed opportunities and broken promises where the benefits of Africa's vast resources rarely reach the hands of its people. But it's not a story without hope. By understanding the root causes of this paradox, we can begin to envision a future where Africa's wealth translates into prosperity for all its people. This isn't just an African problem, it's a global issue. The world has a moral obligation to help Africa break free from these cycles of poverty and exploitation. After all, a rising tide lifts all boats, and a prosperous Africa benefits everyone. So let's dive into this complex issue, understand the challenges, and explore potential solutions. To understand Africa's current predicament, we need to rewind the clock. For centuries, European powers carved up Africa like a birthday cake, exploiting its resources and people for their own gain. They imposed artificial borders, igniting ethnic tensions that continue to simmer today. They stripped the land of its riches, shipping them off to Europe to fuel industrial revolutions and build empires. Colonialism left deep scars on the African psyche and its economy. It created systems designed to benefit the colonizers, not the colonized. These systems, often built on forced labor and resource extraction, continue to cast a long shadow over Africa's development. Even after independence, many African nations found themselves stuck in a cycle of dependency, their economies still intertwined with their former colonizers. This legacy of exploitation continues to haunt Africa today. It's like trying to run a race with a 100-pound weight strapped to your back. The playing field is uneven, tilted against African nations from the start. But recognizing this historical injustice is the first step towards righting the wrongs of the past and building a more equitable future. While colonialism laid the groundwork for exploitation, corruption, and poor governance within many African nations have exacerbated the problem. When leaders prioritize personal gain over public good, the wealth generated from resources rarely reaches the people who need it most. Imagine a leaky bucket. No matter how much water you pour in, it'll never fill up if it's constantly draining from the bottom. Transparency and accountability are crucial. When governments are opaque and unaccountable, it creates fertile ground for corruption to flourish. Contracts are awarded through shady deals, public funds disappear into private pockets, and the voices of the people are silenced. It's a vicious cycle that traps nations in poverty and widens the gap between the haves and the have-nots. But it's not all doom and gloom. Across the continent, a new generation of leaders and activists is demanding better governance and greater transparency. They understand that true prosperity comes from empowering people, not just extracting resources. There's a long way to go, but these seeds of change offer hope for a brighter future. Section 4, the vultures share foreign companies and resource grabs. It's not just internal factors hindering Africa's progress. Foreign companies and governments, often from the very same countries that once colonized Africa, continue to benefit disproportionately from its resources. They swoop in, secure lucrative deals with often corrupt officials, and extract vast amounts of wealth, leaving little behind for local communities. These vulture funds prioritize profit over people, often operating with little regard for environmental regulations or labor rights. They exploit lax environmental laws, leaving behind polluted landscapes and poisoned water sources. They offer low wages and unsafe working conditions, treating local communities like expendable cogs in their profit-making machine. This neo-colonialism, where economic power trumps national sovereignty, perpetuates the cycle of exploitation. It's time for a new model of engagement, one based on partnership, not plunder. Foreign investment should be a tool for development, not just extraction, benefiting both investors and the communities they operate in. Section 5. Diamonds and blood, when riches fuel conflict. The tragedy of Africa's resource curse is perhaps most evident in the conflicts that have ravaged the continent. From blood diamonds fueling civil wars to oil revenues lining the pockets of warlords, the pursuit of wealth often comes at a devastating human cost. These conflict resources become both a prize to be fought over and a means to finance further violence, trapping nations in a spiral of bloodshed and instability. These conflicts create a lose-lose situation. They displace millions of people, shatter economies, and leave behind a legacy of trauma that echoes through generations. And while the world watches in horror at the human toll, the root cause, the insatiable hunger for resources, often goes unaddressed. Breaking this cycle requires a multi-pronged approach. It demands addressing the underlying drivers of conflict, promoting good governance and transparency in the resource sector, and ensuring that the benefits of resource wealth are shared equitably among all citizens.